All right, good afternoon. It looks like we have everybody in attendance here that we had signed up. And if there's anybody joining, we will just be starting with a little bit of an introduction. So thank you everyone for being here for our My Glass Truck webinar for dealers specifically, discussing how partnering with us can help win more deals, identify some new prospects, and land new customers. So thank you for being here. Just a couple housekeeping notes. All attendees are going to remain in listen-only mode, so you'll be on mute through this presentation. But should you have any questions, we do have the chat feature enabled, and at the end of our presentation, we will go through any questions that come through the chat. You will also get Michael Frett and my contact information at the end of the presentation, so feel free to contact us directly with anything that should come up as you listen to some information about MyGlassTruck and partnering with dealerships. So as I mentioned, myself and Mike Frett will be discussing things with you today about our company and about how our existing partnerships benefit truck dealers in moving more units and identifying new customers in the glass and glazing industry. I am the Vice President of Sales of MyGlassTruck, and Mike Frett is our National Account Executive as well as Sales Director for the division with the most experience out of anyone on our sales team. So he's a great resource for questions regarding the equipment specifically, and he's going to take us through our equipment lineup and some specific key features that stand out with MyGlassTruck against some of our competitors. As I mentioned, today's agenda is going to be a little bit about the company, which I'm going to go through, a company overview. We're going to also discuss some core product features with you, discuss our complete lineup of products, and also finish with some industry involvement and support that we provide to the local community through some of our efforts with the Boys and Girls Club, as well as the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Let's start a little bit about us. So we are America's Glass Rack Leader. The way that we've achieved that title and being such a good resource for the glass and glazing industry is through innovative engineering, superior features, and quality manufacturing, which really makes us the #1 choice of professionals throughout the United States and beyond. I say beyond because we do service Canada and Mexico, as well as Puerto Rico and some areas like the Dominican Republic and different places that we're able to ship our equipment. We have 3 decades of experience. As a matter of fact, this week, in fact, is 32 years in business for us. We have experience in engineering and manufacturing best-in-class glass transport racks, truck bodies, as well as trailers, which Mike's going to talk to you a little bit about here shortly. Our diverse team and commitment to customer service is just one of the many reasons that we're America's Glass Rack Leader. Talk a little bit about our core values. So our company is run on these 6 core values, and we make every decision internally and externally related to these core values specifically. They are drive to succeed, do the right thing always, be a great team player, do great work, grow yourself and others, and equality. I always like to give an example because having core values is one thing, but how we exhibit them every day is really the most important thing. And I always like to give an example of do the right thing because we discuss this 10 to 15 times a day at least as it relates to our internal decisions, our vendor partnerships, how we interact with customers and prospects. And I think it's really important for people to understand that you're partnering with someone that has really the core value of always making things right for our partners and customers, regardless of the cost. And one really good example that comes to mind is a situation we had where we had manufactured glass racks specific to Nissan cargo vans. It was a time when Nissan was exploring different materials for their roof of those vans, and we had a situation where the roof rack that we put on the van to hold up our rack failed a little bit as it related to the material that was used for the Nissan roof, and we immediately identified the customers that could have been impacted. We sent out a roof kit to repair the damage, and the individuals who had experienced any damage related to that, even though it wasn't really our responsibility, we took care of repairing those vehicles so that the customer experience was the most important thing. So I always like to mention that story just because I think it gives a really good window into who we are as a company and how we interact and move throughout the business environment. Let's talk a little bit about working with us. So obviously our goal is to make it easy for you to work with us. We want this to be an opportunity for you to identify new areas that you can sell more units, identify new customers, identify new prospects. So with us being the market leader in the glass transportation industry, it gives us access to a really large database of glazers nationwide. So we have a full marketing team that does email marketing. We do physical mail still to some of these folks. We attend trade shows. And our database has 12,000 plus glazers nationwide that we have access to. We also have a team of 3 full-time national account executives that are interacting with these glazers and people in the glazing industry on a daily basis. We're cold calling just to identify even new people to add to our database and reach. So we have a full team doing that marketing and cold calling, which gives you access to those folks as well, being our partner. We also have regional in-stock pages on our website. I urge you strongly to take a look at those because they're a very valuable resource, being a dealership, and us being able to promote some in-stock units that you might have, or promoting your dealership in some different ways that we'll mention kind of throughout the presentation. But those in-stock pages are an excellent resource for our customers. Everybody uses the internet. Everybody's searching constantly for them just to see what's on the ground and who they could potentially use as a resource for their truck chassis as they have a need and as a need arises. We also provide project management and support from the quoting phase through installation and delivery, as well as really the service life of the vehicle. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But the really important piece there is that we are really the pillar and the foundation for the glass equipment itself. And the only piece that you're going to really be responsible for, obviously, is your vehicle, your unit, your chassis. We want to take all of the headache away from you as it relates to the aftermarket equipment, because we know that that can be a bit of a headache to deal with a vendor that doesn't have that kind of a range as it relates to their resources to be able to help you as people put this equipment on the ground. Let's talk a little bit about our proven process. So this is how we really achieve what I had mentioned to you in the last slide. So we operate our entire company off of the Salesforce platform, and that's from the quoting phase through engineering and manufacturing, as well as some of our tracking for service-related calls and things of that nature. So our team starts with a quote to either the customer, the dealership, the leasing company, whoever is going to be purchasing the equipment from us. We then have a full engineering team that assesses every quote and order before it goes to our manufacturing floor. The reason for that is because we know every year chassis manufacturers, OEMs, they tend to change their models depending upon the year. And our engineers work very closely with the NTEA and the OEM specifically so that we're aware of those changes ahead of time. And we can ensure that what the customer is ordering is going to work with the chassis being provided either by the dealerships, the leasing companies, or the customer themselves before it goes to the manufacturing floor. So the engineers are kind of a stopgate just to make sure that everything is compliant as it relates to the equipment. And then it hits our manufacturing floor where we make the glass racks, the glass bodies, the trailers, and we kind of either match those up with the chassis itself if it's on site, or we crate it up and we ship it out to the location where the vehicle is going to be upfit. So delivery looks a little bit different depending on the arrangement with the customer, prospect, or the truck dealer themselves. It could be delivery of a completed unit, or it could be delivery of equipment that's going to be upfit eventually. And we do have resources throughout the country for upfitting as well. If that's something that your dealership doesn't have the resources to do, we have upfit partners throughout the country that are able to take care of that just to ensure a smooth process for the customer themselves. And then I mentioned the support piece. I think the support is something that's really important through the life of the vehicle, because there's going to be a time when a customer needs some accessories or needs to replace a piece of the equipment or gets into an accident and needs to repair equipment. That's something that we take pride in. We have a website, we have a full-time parts and support related person who handles all of those conversations with customers so that you can ensure that through the life of that vehicle, the customer is taken care of. Let's talk a little bit about our facility. So every glass rack and glass body is designed and built at our 50,000 square foot facility, which is located in Glassboro, New Jersey. So just over the bridge from Philadelphia, if you're familiar. We employ state-of-the-art equipment to ensure that your rack is manufactured to the exact specifications. And in this building, we also have 2 other truck equipment related businesses under our umbrella that are working, and those different business lines also support the MyGlassTruck business to ensure that we have the best in class product coming out of our facility when it reaches your customer or dealership. talk a little bit about our dedicated engineering department as well. And I know I mentioned them in our proven process, but they provide a tremendous resource to the customer. So we work directly with the chassis manufacturers, as I had mentioned, just making sure we're up to date with model years, compliance of our equipment with new model changes, cab to axle, wheelbases. We ensure that we're working directly with the NTEA and those chassis OEMs to make sure that compliance happens, and also just that we are up to date on all of the newest models of vehicles. There's also a paper pilot and a spec review done with the customers and the dealers before manufacturing of these larger glass bodies. I think what's important about that is the customer then gets to look at this 3D type model on those projects and see, does this equipment fit my needs? Is there anything custom that I would like to do with this to make it work a little bit better for what I'm trying to achieve? So that's a really great resource to the customer. We do involve you in that process as well so that you can kind of understand a little bit about what the customer is looking to do. And oftentimes there's multiple units involved. So the nice part about that is you can understand a little bit more then about the opportunity in the future with that customer. Our engineering department also helps with the technical support after the vehicle's in service. So not only do they help once the vehicle's in service, there could potentially be an issue, but let's say there's a customer that's installing something on site in a different state in the country. They can walk them through any challenges they might have. They can walk a dealership, a leasing company, an upfitter through any challenges they might have and help them out with anything they might run into that they're not familiar with as they work through that process. So Mike is going to run through our product lineup with you just to give you an idea of what we do. So we have glass racks that are for our smaller glazers, and those are bolt-on to vans and pickup racks. And they work with most every vehicle manufacturer. So there's really not any vehicle manufacturers that we don't partner with. Glass bodies, which you just saw an engineered drawing of one of these in the last slide, they're fully engineered glass bodies for class 2 and up vehicles. And then the last thing mentioned, there are glass trailers. Those are for heavy duty applications, as well as jumbo glass. We do have a trailer also designed for jumbo glass. So we really hit A to Z, kind of the needs of these glass and glazing industry professionals, dependent upon what segment of the business that they're in. So I'm going to flip control over to Mike, and he's going to run you through some of the specifics about our products.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, or actually good afternoon, I guess, depending where you're at. Just lower this bar, pop right back up for me. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on some key features here of what makes the MyGlassTruck system look different than anything else in the marketplace. And right off the bat, MyGlassTruck has 3 main features that are used across the board in all our product lineup. So if you look at the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a hub bolt. So it's structurally strong, and all our glass racks are used with this hub bolt system to put itself together. And what the hub bolt is, it's better than welds or standard bolts and nuts. And it's better than welds because welds tend to break and crack over time when the vehicle flexes down the road. And it's better than bolts because the bolts, along with the flexing again, tend to get loose and come out and have to be replaced. Now, if you look at any of your cabin chassis that you may sell and remove the body and check the truck frame itself, you're going to see that these vehicles are made with the same type of mechanical fasteners that we use on the glass rack. So your trucks are not welded together and bolted together. They're using these fasteners, and that's kind of the same technology we use on our end to secure the glass racks together. Another feature, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, it's vertical and horizontal rubber. So for your customer, what that means is no matter where a piece of glass lays, it's always touching something that's smooth and rubber and nothing metallic to cause it to scratch or break in transit. And finally, at the bottom left-hand corner, we have an adjustable sliding pole system. And so this means that no matter what size glass your customer may have, our sliding cleated system can secure it to the vehicle so they don't have to worry about it breaking in transit or coming loose. Now our vehicle lineup. So MyGlassTruck can put a glass rack on all standard work vans. And there's multiple sizes available depending on the type of van, because we know different vans have different wheelbases and different roof sizes. All of our glass racks can fit on majority of all the glass vans, or sorry, majority of the vans out in the marketplace, with the exception of the Metris and the Ram City. They're the only 2 model trucks that we do not put a glass rack on. We can do single-sided, and we can do double, like you see in this picture. We can attach it off a MyGlassTruck roof rack system with even an optional drop-down ladder, like you see in this photo as well. Or we can even bolt it through the side of the vehicle Most people, though, when they do get a new glass truck, they prefer a roof rack style, so they don't have to put new holes into their newer vehicle. So not only do we put the glass racks on the outside of the vehicles, but we can also put them in the inside. Now, these are for glazers who have smaller pieces of glass and you want to keep them out of the elements so they can get a glass rack for the inside of their van. And again, we can do a double or single-sided unit. And we have a couple different options, including a stationary one that you see in the picture, one that slides in and out, or even one that we make as a shelf that can also hold glass by rope and bungee. So they can use the best of both worlds. They have their ability to stock their product and also have the ability to carry some tools. Now up next is our pickup truck lineup. So MyGlassTruck can put a glass rack in all standard pickup truck models. You know, we don't really discriminate on the vehicle. It's more of the bed size. So as long as you have a 8-foot or 6.5-foot bed, we can put a glass rack on this. And again, just like the vans, they can vary in size and length and height that we can put on this unit. And with these pickup racks, you can hold 2,000 pounds capacity, and that's essentially 1,000 pounds per side. And that's the same thing that goes with the van. The vans can also carry 1,000 pounds per side. And if you wanted to put an interior rack on the pickup trucks, there are also available options to put an inside glass rack on the pickup truck if the outside was not something that your customer really wanted to put a rack onto. Now, if your customer says, hey, I need more than 2,000 pounds capacity for my vehicle, what do you offer me? Well, the MyGlassTruck system then offers our Atlas lineup, and it's essentially for class 2 to 3 trucks. And the vehicles that this can work with are the Ford Transit cab chassis, the Sprinter cab chassis, and as far as pickup trucks go, all 8-foot bed delete pickup trucks or cab chassis with a 60-inch CA. Now, depending on the spec layout of this truck, your customer then will be able to hold anywhere between 3,000 to 4,400 pounds of glass. And it is still an all aluminum construction with the exception of a structural steel subframe. So this steel subframe adds extra strength for the customer to hold that weight, and also protects it a little bit better in case something happens with a car into an accident. But the aluminum keeps it light and able to keep that payload. Now, if your customer still has a problem and that 4,400 isn't enough to hold glass for them, they can always upgrade to the MyGlassTruck Patriot LT version. Now, the Patriot LT version goes on class 3 to 5 trucks, and it's available in sizes between 12, 14, 16, and 18 feet long. The vehicles that we typically put these Patriots on are your Isuzus, your Hinos, and your Mitsubishi Fuzos. And with this, the customer can get anywhere between 4,500 to 5,500 pounds of payload. I'm sorry, 4,500 to 9,500 pounds of payload, which is a lot. And most of these guys don't even need the 9,500 pounds, but to have that option, it offers the world to them. Now, besides the Isuzu lineups, if your customer wanted to even get larger vehicles, we do offer glass racks in class 5 and higher, whether it be open style, curtain sides, or even as far as a glass trailer that we design. But even on this end, we work with all major manufacturers, Kenworth, Isuzu, Freightliner, International, and we can offer the customers a greater payload, wider ledges to put glass on, and even have that ability to cover up the unit to protect their glass in that curtain side scenario. And we work with all the GVWs, 26, 33, 55, all the way up. So if there's a model truck out there, we can put a glass rack on it, as long as it has clean frame requirements and the cab to axle we need, we can put the glass body on there.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to grab control back here and we'll run through some of the important things about the Philadelphia market itself. All right, great. So this is a little bit of an example of a case study just about the Philadelphia market. I told you Glassboro, New Jersey is just over the bridge from Philly. So we have quite a few stocking dealers in this marketplace to kind of feed the needs of not only the people locally, but also some people throughout the country, because as you know, chassis, trucks can be drop shipped really anywhere in the country. So we have great partnerships here in the local market. And since 2018, we've sold 134 units with an average of 5 units in stock with these particular dealerships at any given time. So obviously you can see that there's quite a few units moved just in our backyard as it relates to the glass and glazing industry. It's a huge market, and we're happy to say that they've remained very busy over this past year, just with building projects and repair projects. And looking to the future, it appears to be a business that's going to continue to not only sustain but grow as we move into this next year. Let's talk a little bit about how we show support to community, because this is also something very important to us and aligns with our core values. So not only are we a huge partner of the National Glass Association, which gives us the resources to understand more about industry trends, the industry itself, and how we can best serve that industry. We participate in all of their trade shows, which are some smaller regional shows as well as a big show that they have every other year in a different location throughout the country. But as you can see there, just that photo from the show, we do take a vehicle to every single trade show that we participate with the NGA, and it gives us a good opportunity to spotlight some of our dealership partners when this opportunity arises. So we usually reach out and see who would like to provide a chassis. We sell this unit before we even leave the show, so it's another perk that you're going to move a unit very quickly, but it also just gives us a really good chance to sometimes even bring our dealership partner with us to the show so they can learn a little bit more about the industry. So that's something that we're extremely proud of. We also show support to our local community. So if you notice in the photo, you can see that our carpet is pink at our trade show. That's because we have a huge partnership with the Susan G. Komen Foundation, specifically in Southern New Jersey, and we donate a portion of our sale from every glass rack, glass body, and glass trailer to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and we've raised over $100,000, which we're extremely proud of, which has equated to 680 plus mammograms for people in our local community. We also partner with the Boys and Girls Club. We do quite a few events with them. We do a lot of things to help them raise money, some walkathons, marathons, but we also sponsor their annual Christmas party to ensure that all of the kids that attend the Boys and Girls Club have a fantastic holiday and are provided gifts and food and can celebrate with each other. So it's something that we're extremely proud of and that we do every year with them, just to show some support to our local community. We also are big on social media. So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, a YouTube channel, as well as a LinkedIn page. And the primary reason for this is, as you can see with these photos that are represented here, it gives us a really good chance to connect with our customers who are throughout the country in Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico. People are really proud of their equipment and how they've built their businesses. So we love interacting with them. We get a lot of photos from customers of finished products, of some of the things that we send out, the hats, the stickers, just kind of in use in their locations. We sometimes will do really neat giveaways where we provide people with stickers and ask them to take photos of those stickers in different locations, and we get some really great photos, and we're able to connect with our customers and prospects in a different way, which is always fantastic. I also want to talk to you a little bit about another business that operates in that same manufacturing facility as MyGlassTruck, knowing that we're on the phone discussing dealerships. We have a business called Demountable Concepts. It's also truck equipment, but it's swap body truck equipment for box trucks primarily. You'll see here we have some conventional cab Kenworths in this photo, but I want to bring it up because I know being a dealership, we may have interacted with you or have an opportunity to interact with you with this business line as well. But the main priority of this swap body system is to provide final mile and delivery companies with a competitive edge in their delivery service, whether that be a better customer experience, also reducing warehouse work or driver downtime, being able to reduce their fleet and labor costs, less product damage potentially, better quality deliveries, which creates not only a higher customer satisfaction, but also better satisfaction to drivers, which helps with driver and employee retention. So I like to mention this. If you have any other questions about this particular business line, please feel free to reach out. We partner with a ton of dealerships throughout the country with Demountable Concepts as well. So I felt like not mentioning it would be doing a disservice, because there's a chance that we have potentially coordinated on a project or have an opportunity to coordinate on a project for this group as well. That's all we have for today. If you have any questions that have come up, please feel free to put them in the chat now. I know I have one waiting that I will answer momentarily here. And you will also see our contact information up for both Mike and myself please feel free to reach out. If you think of something that you didn't think of throughout the presentation that you might like to ask, or anything we can help you with in the future as it relates to a customer or a prospect. And also, don't worry about feverishly writing any of this information down, which I probably could have said to you at the beginning, because you will receive a link with a recording to this presentation, this webinar, that you can review at a later date if you have anything that comes up that you'd like to look backwards at. So the question that I have in the chat right now is really just in relationship to how we interact through a process of a customer coming into a dealership, explaining that they're a glass or glazing company. Like, how does that process start and what does that process look like? Which is a fantastic question, because you know, it can be a little bit confusing sometimes to know how to navigate that situation. So if you happen to have someone come into one of your dealerships, or someone that you work with that you reach out to, you identify could potentially benefit from our equipment, and they inquired you about a chassis for a specific glass rack or glass body, please feel free to reach out to Mike, and he can coordinate with someone on our team to have a discussion, whether it's himself or one of our other sales representatives, to understand what that customer's needs are specifically, help identify what the exact right product is for them, and then work with you specifically as a dealership to identify the right chassis to deliver the best outcome for the customer. So we have no problem getting involved right on the front end to make sure that we're helping out with a lot of those questions. It could be confusing if you've never done something in the glass and glazing industry before. And we can start by asking the customer a whole lot of questions just about what their expectation is from a payload standpoint. You heard Mike kind of mention that different size companies might need different vehicles based on what kind of payload they're trying to achieve. So we're glad to figure all of that out for you in combination with your customer, or give you a list of resources and questions that you could potentially ask them to help identify some of those answers. But the name of the game is we want to make the process easy for you, and we want to use our proven process to its fullest extent to make sure that we take as much of the pressure off of you as it relates to this aftermarket equipment, and just provide a smooth experience for both the dealership as well as the customer themselves. All right. If I don't see any other questions, I want to thank everybody for their time today. We are looking forward to partnering with a lot of you in the future, and we look forward to being a resource to help you identify new customers and prospects in the glass and glazing industry, to help sell more units and help you promote something that might help get in the door with some people that you haven't identified in the past. So Mike and I are here as a resource. We're glad to help any way that we can. So please feel free to reach out if there's anything that comes up post this webinar. Thank you for attending, and I hope everybody has a great day.